Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling. I am your host, JP John Paz, and with me today is a former ECW superstar. You may know him as Sal E. Graziano, or of course, a member of the vaunted FBI. He is, of course, Big Sal. Sal, what's going on? How you doing today,
How's it
sir?
going, man? How are you? Going fast and loose with the term superstar, huh? That's not bad.
Hey,
just
come
just
on.
throwing that around, huh? All right,
Come on. You're an ECW superstar. Come on.
I'll take it. Yeah, I guess. So yeah, thanks for having me on, man. This is cool. I'm glad this is my first time here. So
Yes, awesome.
hopefully it won't be the last. Won't be booted from the show.
Yes, hopefully not. Hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully, yes. So what's going on with you? What have you been up to?
Well, let's see. So we got the conspiracy horseman thing going on. We had that. We've just relaunched the Horror Junkyard Apocalypse, which is our horror host show. We cover old crappy movies, old crappy horror movies, to be more specific. And we deal with video games. We deal with tabletop games. Just kind of getting back to the stuff I've always loved. It's kind of always been the thing, and it's kind of one of those things where you didn't really talk about it in public back in the day. That was like, you kept that stuff on that nerd stuff on the down low. But now it's cool. Now everybody can talk about it. Now everybody, oh yeah, I was a nerd back in the day. Yeah, I used to do this. Yeah, no, you didn't. You lying bastards.
Yeah.
But now everybody's got their own podcast for it, and everybody's doing their own deal, man. So I'm just I guess we're just going back to just trying to get back to what we loved. And hopefully that'll take off and go its own way.
What's going on with the Conspiracy Horsemen? We haven't seen you guys in a few weeks.
Oh boy. Well, here's the thing. I'm not a lawyer. However, we've been informed not to say anything. We've been told. I listen to people smarter than me, so I just keep my mouth shut. And that's what we were instructed to do. Keep our mouth shut, and we'll see what happens, see where it goes. We've been demonetized from YouTube. We've thrown off a Twitch, pulled off a Podbean. Like, that's just everything. Just no matter where you turn and the door keeps getting shut, it just seems like the deck gets a little stacked and you're going, And, you watch stuff around you, like guys like Daniel Crowder. Those guys like him. He's got millions of listeners. Guy's got lawyers. He's got, half Asian lawyers. He's got all kinds of guys around him, and they're shutting him down too. He's got lawsuits against YouTube. He's got all these stuff going on. And then you look at us, and I'm, I know in the propaganda department, you're never supposed to say you're small time, but compared to these guys, we don't have that level, and we're getting shut down from everywhere we turn. So it's like, it's really disheartening, and you don't ever want to see it, but there's that side where, as dark as it gets, you're like, well, obviously we pissed somebody off. Obviously we made somebody go, shut them down. And that kind of gives you that little, all right. And it's like, well, I'll take it, because honestly, it makes you really wonder, like, what nerve did we hit? And we've hit so many, we've said so many things that offended people or upset people. And I just would, there's part of me that would just for satisfaction's sake, would love to know what was the thing that was said that made somebody go, get rid of them, shut them down. So I don't know. It's again, like I said, I'm letting the smarter people in the group handle this. It's out of my realm. So.
Do you know what it was, or was it multiple things?
It was multiple things, man. And that was the thing. Every time Ben would, we talk every day. We talk on the group chat, and we have Messenger and stuff. And every day it would be like, oh, this got shut down. Oh, this got pulled. This got yanked. And it's like, come on. Like, at one point I thought it was a rib. I thought Ben was just ribbing us.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, did it? And then, oh crap, it did. And then people, or I get a random, hey, where's the show? And I'm like, it's right there. Where it's not there. Oh, okay. And it just, stuff started getting yanked. And even like stuff like Stevie, it's I find it so weird. Stevie, I go on his YouTube channel, and I follow some of the stuff, the reviews he does, and then I go to look at some of the other, and I don't get notifications. And I subscribed. Why wouldn't I subscribe to him? He's a friend of mine. Why wouldn't I hit the stupid bell? I do all the stuff and I still don't get notifications. We're kind of thinking he has some kind of a shadow ban thing going on. And then I go to look for Ben. I don't get stuff announcements from Ben, when he puts up a new video. And it's like aside from knowing the people personally and saying, hey guys, where the hell's the video you guys are talking about? Hey, did you guys see the video I put up? No, where is it? Why didn't I get an announcement? So all of that, it's very tiny and very minutia level of like boring, but like it makes you think, like, what the hell's going on? There has to be something else going on, because if I'm not getting it, what about everybody else? Other people aren't getting it. And I don't know, it's kind of one of those things where you don't think it, you would never think about it in the day. Like, just to think, oh, I didn't get a notification, I wonder what I missed today. You don't think that way. I do think that way now, because I have to, if my phone's quiet, if my phone's silent for like an hour or two, I'm like, wonder why I haven't heard anything. And normally you could just say, well, you're an unpopular person and no one likes you. But I know that's not true. I know my mom likes me, but aside from that, I'm not getting any notifications from YouTube. I'm not getting any of these things that I should be getting. And that makes me wonder, like, what is going on? Why don't I get Stevie? Why don't I get Ben? Why don't I see these things? Meanwhile, I'm getting notifications for a dozen other things, just not ours. So it kind of makes me go, yeah, something's up. And now seeing the collective, the big picture of everything, individually, it looks really. And I wish I had had the thought of this. The pictures with all the little dots that make a bigger picture. Yep. That's what this is, because you're looking at it and you're going, oh, it's a couple dots here. Okay, yeah, this screwed up, that screwed up, this screwed up, that screwed up. But the farther you pull back, the bigger picture it is. And that's what's happening. It's when you step back and you look, and it's just now become a different picture. And that's what's happened to us. We've been pretty much just driven off without somebody coming straight out and saying you've been driven off. They're just making things super difficult for people. And again, like I said, told not to say anything, so I don't. And I know the other guys, the same thing. Everybody's trying to keep it close to the pocket, but it's kind of disheartening. 3 years we were on the air, so we were trying, trying to just be a voice for everybody to listen to, not just, okay, oh well, we're right wing, left wing, yeah, whatever. But it was kind of everybody was just, hey, we're not telling you what the truth is. We're telling you an option. Go look it up for yourself. Don't believe us. Whatever I say, don't listen to me. Go find out for yourself. Be smart on your own. And, we had a community going, and then the people in the community, they understood that. They understood, well, what we say isn't law. We're not doctors. We're not lawyers. We're not NASA scientists. We're not any of this stuff. We have our own opinions. We have our own thoughts. We just want to present a different angle. And maybe that'll cause you to go look, and maybe you'll find something we don't. Maybe you'll find something that'll really flip the switch for you. Maybe you'll find something when you're looking and go, whoa, oh, there you go, and have your mind completely blown out of your head. And so, like, there's part of that. And again, not to paint the superhero cape on us, because that's not what we are. Like, we're just four wrestlers who we all had our own thoughts, and we all sat in our locker rooms quiet. And when we bring this stuff up, it'd be like, oh yeah, did you? And just people ignore you. So,
yep.
But again, it was kind of a weird, honestly, it's a weird way we all found each other, but we found each other. And the fact is, we made a difference, and we made somebody uncomfortable. And now we're kind of floating. We're in that in the phantom zone with Zod and those guys.
Seems like possibly there might be some light at the end of the tunnel with the Realm network. and possibly jump it on there, because you can't get kicked off something because you got to pay to get on there. So you can't just kick somebody off of there. So that's might
Right.
possibly could be an option.
It's I find it kind of funny. I just somebody sent me the Adam Corolla. He went on a huge rant, which was really cool, and it very it paralleled this. He kept calling it the pirate ship. He says, "I have the pirate ship," and I don't know. Are we allowed to curse on this?
Sure,
I don't wanna,
absolutely.
okay. He kept saying, he goes, "Come after me." He goes, "If I was on the radio, I'd have to fucking apologize to everybody, but now you can all suck my dick." And he goes, "This is my pirate ship." And he goes, "It's my books I'm selling. It's my words I'm talking, and nobody can take it away from him. It's his ship." And, literally the only way to get a pirate ship out of the water is if you go and blast it out of the water. And they're not going to do that. Everything's going to be shady. Everything's going to be subversive. It's no longer, you know what? It's almost sad when you miss the days of black suited thugs showing up and like trying to muscle you. Because you can handle that, but this other stuff where they shut down your accounts and they kill your feeds and everything else, this is it's garbage. I miss the old days.
Yep. And they'll quietly eat the monetization, everything up too.
Yeah, man. It's just, and then you just realize, like, what was Stevie on his one thing he mentioned something, and the literal, I think the phrase was 9/11, and it really wasn't anything to do with conspiracy or anything and they demonetized the whole episode. So like, wow. They were listening so closely to his workout that a word that they sent the algorithm was like, nope, said 9/11, demonetize it. So
wow,
it's odd, just odd.
Yeah, that is I don't know, just crazy world we live in now, where the conspiracy horsemen are too controversial because they're talking about conspiracy.
Yeah, hi. Now, well, that's another thing too. That's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of buzzwords that came out of this era that a lot of us don't like. The word woke, hate it. It just means you're a douche. When people say it's conspiracy theory, that's the automatic Iggy that you're a nutcase, or they think JFK was killed by aliens, or like like, just it's automatically just it's something somebody gets to say about you that it's basically a verbal eye roll. So if you turn around and somebody says, again, I don't want to get you demonetized or kicked off the air, but if I say something about an vaccine, and they say, "Oh, well, that's false news. That's false medical news. We have to pull you." Or if, "Oh my God, you posted something on Facebook, that is our fact checkers have said no, that's false." Or, "We checked Snopes and that's no." All right, great. So now it's just something. If you say conspiracy theory, people get to discount you and discredit you as either ignorant or a nut. And unfortunately, again, now ready. This is the part where people go, "Oh, again." It was a word concocted to put into documentation to discredit people and to say, "Oh, well, they're conspiracy theorists." So now that's its own little section of crazies.
Yep.
So terrific. Now it's automatically discredited. Anything you say. If you watch every one of the shows on Discovery and American Channel of Travel Channel, everything else, it's all wording. So they can literally say anything, and they could say, "Theorists say," and then follow that phrase with anything, and it's totally legal and cool. "Theorists say that giant lizards used to walk around and smoke cigars and wear fezzes." Okay, well, sure. But if I were to go, "Here's my thought. These giant lizards walked around to smoke cigars and wore fezzes," people go, "Oh, what a nutcase. I didn't say some theorists think." And that makes it okay. And that makes it legal. And that makes it okay. Like, that makes the law. So now if anybody goes nuts on that, they can't come back to that show and say, "Well, he said it. We just said some theorists think that." So it's all now, everything is wording. And if we were to, honestly, if we put more thought into our show, I guess you want to call it, and wrote out a script where we double talked all day and all night so nothing could come back on us, sure, I guess maybe we might still be on the air. But again, that's not who we are. It's not what we do, not what we ever did. We never double talked. We never, like, using a wrestling term, we never kayfabed anybody on anything. Everything we said was always a behind the curtain thing. And if it needed explanation, we explained the shit out of it. So like, yep. there was no mystery of, oh, well, Oz behind the curtain. Well, you want to see behind the curtain? It ain't that glamorous, man. We'll take you right behind the curtain. And that's what we did. And I guess, at a point, we made jokes and we had T-shirts, the world's most dangerous podcast, and we did the NWA gimmick and, like the whole bit. But in the end, now it's like, well, you're giving us some credence to it. You've made us these outlaws, and you want to talk about the Revolutionary War. You made us these people. You made us those guys who have to go and have these little shows and have these little talks in quiet places that Big Brother can't hear, because now you've driven us underground. So now you can't keep track of us. Now you can't keep tabs on us. And now you have to wonder, how dangerous can we get now that you're not watching anymore? So, and again, I'm going to shut up because because they told me to shut up, and I'm going to shut up. So I just want to leave you guys with that. Let you think about that for a little bit.
Yeah, think about that. Now let's just completely change gears from the Conspiracy Horsemen, from podcasting, to what everybody knows you from, and that is your wrestling career.
Do they really know me from that?
I would think so. I would hope so.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. Again, it was something I always wanted to do as a kid. It's everybody's story. My story is there's no magic to it. There's no craziness. It's the same as everybody else who almost wanted to get in the business before. Let me preempt that. Before before the year 2000, let's call it. Now everybody just wants to go on Tough Enough and get on, and or win a game show and get on. So what my thing was, I grew up watching wrestling with my grandfather, with my father, and we used to go to the shows in Brooklyn. We used to go to all the church shows. Vince used to run behind in like St. Mary's High School and all these other places in Brooklyn and Queens. He used to run the shows out there. So we used to go. We used to see these guys, and these were that's who you saw growing up. And growing up in the 80s, that was it, man. And oddly enough, me and Papa Don lived in the same neighborhood for years, never knew each other.
Wow.
Yeah, he went to school with my brother, and we lived in Rosedale together. We lived in the same neighborhood for years, and we went to the same school, PS 138, all day, Rosedale, baby, in Queens, and never knew each other. And then we just, met each other at shows a couple times, and then it was like through Ben. It was I met Ben at ECW when at Queens Boulevard. That was the first time I met Ben, and he was hanging out. And then when I went down to Kentucky with OVW, Ben was there. He was on board there, and we met again. And it was just one of those things we always kept running into. And I knew Stevie, ECW, and then kept running into him over and over. And again, then we just, hey, we did a show. Hey, Stevie? Oh yeah, I know Stevie. And we all knew each other, but we didn't know each other, but we knew each other. So, and then, but ECW was one of the things, like I said, I'm sorry to go off on a tangent. And it was one of the things I grew up watching wrestling, got into wrestling, went to Johnny Rod's, went to Gleason's. That's where I trained in 1990. I started the end of 1990. It was my senior year of high school, 1991. Yeah. Sorry about that. I got to think. But my senior year of high school, I started going to Gleason's, and I would, get out of high school and drive in into Brooklyn, and started there and just kept going. And Dreamer, Taz, Mondo Clean, Big Sweet William, Bill DeMott, Devon, Bubba, Angel, Spanish Angel. All of us came from the same place, and it was like when ECW first started, it was such a funny thing because it was kind of one of those. I'll probably never go there. That was my thought. I was like, no, I never even thought about going there. Never thought about looking there. And then, Johnny used to do this thing to us in the school. If Dances with Dudley's, I don't know if you guys remember that back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So Dances with Dudley's, Indio used to go, and all the guys used to go. They would all start heading over to ECW, and we would just watching from the outside. At the school, Johnny would come up to us. We would be standing at the ring, like warming up or whatever, kind of getting ready to do our workout. And he would hit us in the back with a board or a chair or whatever was lying around by the side of the ring. And you turn around and you're like going to get hot about it. And he would just go, ECW, you can't get hot at me, you cocksucker. and he would walk away. That would be it. All right. Just like, what are you supposed to say to that? He's right. You can't get mad at it. And it just became a kind of an on-running joke. And then when I finally got called Devon, all those guys had called me. He had said, hey, could you show up at Queens? I said, yeah, no problem. So I showed up at Queens, had my bag, went in, did my first show at Spike. That was my first night. I will go in, did the business, and end the story. And I walked in the back, and they were all there, and Shane Douglas and those guys. And they're all standing there, and they're all shaking their heads, and they have this fucking angry looks on their faces. And I'm like, oh, shit, what's the matter? And Shane Douglas, oh, yeah, you fucked up. And I'm like, oh, boy. Like, oh, my God. He goes, you really fucked up bad. And I'm like, oh, man. He goes, because you got a job with us. And I'm like, oh, shit, that was weird. Like, all right, man. Because now there was part of me where it's like, you want to be cool, especially, look, man, I'm the 6'9", 600-pound guy who try to be cool, man. Just don't be an idiot. And here I am. I want to like scream and be like, woo. But, I'm just like, oh, cool. I'm going to shit my pants because I'm like, wow, I just got a job with ECW. And last thing I expected today, I came in to just do business and go home. And it, again, a lot you could say about it. We all trashed it at one point or another. We were all mad at one reason or another, but it was something that we wouldn't trade. It's something, honestly, it made us better. Even if it made us worse at the time, it made us better in the long run. And I will always appreciate that. And I will always, as much as, you want to punch people in the face, there's, you do want to, you show your gratitude, and you guys like Paul, who they had, these ideas. And again, that's maybe not the same level, but I love the thought of being that creative, of making something out of nothing. To me, that's a level of art. And I don't want to get too deep and, weird about it, but that's a level of art that I love. Like just making something that will always last. That's going to be a legacy. And like, I sometimes don't recognize, like, making jokes or whatever about my career. But I just having a legacy that it will always be there. And people will say, oh, well, it's dead. Yes, it is dead. That's all gone. But those memories of it will always be there. It's never going to come back. Even reunion shows, on Hardcore 69, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many you want to have. You'll never get that lightning back. But those memories are always going to be there, and as much as people didn't get along in the locker room, there was still something between everybody. Everybody had each other's back, even if they didn't like each other. And that was something that I think it's gone. There is no, again, I could be talking out of my ass. I don't know, but I just feel like that level of intensity is gone. Now it is literally just the business. And nobody has a stake in it anymore.
I agree. Definitely. So when, you get in, you get hired. What do they
Mhm.
say? You're going to be a part of the FBI? What
Nope.
are they?
They had no idea what the hell to do with me. Um, one of my one of the early thoughts was I was gonna be with Chris Chetty, and Danny Doring, and I was gonna be their bouncer, and I would show up with velvet ropes and a disco ball. And during promos, I would just stand there, and I was going to hold a disco ball over both of their heads while they did cut their promos. And it was going to be Sally Nightlife. I don't.
Nice name. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. We had no idea. Paul had no idea. Nobody had any idea. But then they put me with Just Incredible's group of crazy people, and it was like me and Chastity and Jason and One Man Gang at the time, and so it was always the schmoz at the end of the show sort of deal.
Yep.
And that was just kind of we don't know what to do with you, so you go here. And then one night I just went out with the FBI, Big Don, Tracy Smothers, and Tommy Rich. We went out. I was Tommy Rich's bodyguard, and then we went there, and then it just took its own turn, I guess, after that. And then they just kept going with, everything else.
Did you like that kind of role, the bodyguard, or is that just like the generic, hey, this guy's huge, he's going to be the bodyguard manager role?
You know what? It was really, I was happy to be there. I know it sounds super, super fucking pathetic, but I was just happy to be there. And I would say things. You always want to show, you always want to do, and I would go up and I would say, Dreamer, I got an idea. No. Okay. How about this? Dreamer, I got an idea. No. Okay. All right. No problem. Okay. Dreamer, what about this? No. Okay. Sure. Great. So it was one of those things where they had an idea and they knew the direction they wanted to go. And it was kind of like, you don't want to rock the boat. You want to keep your job. You want to make sure everything goes smooth. So you don't want to screw anything up. So, I did. Whatever you want me to do. You want me to, okay, I get to play Lucha Crash Pad. Great. No problem. And, there's parts, like there's video, just green as all shit, and just guys flying, and just me, landing on me. And at this point, literally not knowing, because my whole introduction into the business was working with guys like Junkyard Dog, Nikolai Volkov, Ken Patera, Bundy, King Kong Bundy, guys like that. And it was always, okay, we do our bit, and then, we go home. And so my whole first year of wrestling, of being in the business, was working with these veterans who made everything so easy, and it was, okay, man, do this. And then it was SD Jones. It was the first time, hey, how about we do this? Why don't you slam me? All right. Oh yeah, brother, that'd be great, brother. And that's what we did. We spent all summer. Like, that was our summer. So first year of wrestling, it was, nothing crazy, everything was easy. You know what I mean? It seemed so easy. And then switched over to ECW, where everything changed. There was no more, hey, we're still working carnivals and stuff, but wow, this is completely different. Like, this is completely nuts. So yeah, you watched, and as that time goes, you learn, obviously. And I'm not one of those guys who's going to tell you, I knew everything from the jump. I didn't know shit. I didn't know nothing, man. And I learned as I went. And luckily, again, I had friends who we all learned from each other, and we all helped each other when we could. Angel, me and him, and then guys like CW Anderson, meeting guys like him, like professionals, like guys that are like out, like the charts, top of the charts levels of professionals. Guys like Danny and Roadkill, like to this day, two guys I love, absolutely love. Like, I love those dudes beyond, I can't even talk about. Guys like Crowbar, I got to meet. we become friends because these guys were real and I was real with them, and we all got to be friends, and you learn things from your friends. So if you were, if you were fucking up and they would tell you, look, dude, don't do this. You're fucking up. No, don't do this. Try this. How about this? How about this? And we'd always try to help one another out. Nobody was ever trying to cut anybody's throat, on this level. It was always, Danny wasn't worried about me taking his spot. I wasn't worried about Danny taking my spot. You know what I mean? Or roadkill or anything like that. We always worked amazing together, and it was always one of those things. If they look good, I'm going to look good. And if I look good, they're going to look good. And we always took care of each other. Guys like Spike, day in and day out, I would take a bullet for Spike. Matt is just amazing. And again, he made me, come in, literally, how easy is this for a night? Go out, do a little gaga, get kicked in the nuts, acid drop, go home. And it's like,
yep.
And you want to, people want to, here's the thing. Everybody has evolved. All the fans have evolved, and nobody's a mark anymore. But you'll still get idiots who will say, "Oh, you're a jobber." Then people, this drives me nuts when they say it to people who are just huge, and they say, "Oh, well, yeah, they didn't really do much. They didn't do much, but they basically made characters. They basically made the people you're cheering for. You know what I mean? Like, this was all, everybody was part of this wheel." And I'm going to say the ECW fans were the first, they seem to be the first ones to get that. They seem to be the first ones to kind of shrug off the jobber mentality. And they started to, again, evolve into something that's now just a horrible level of people. And I'm so, I know here, don't say that, but yeah, there's some of these people are insufferable now. All of these pundits, all of these wrestling experts online, never stepped foot in the ring, laced up a boot day one, are going to tell people how to run a show or what they should have done. What should they have done, sir? Tell me from your mom's basement, what should they have done to make the show better for you? And to me, that's the evolution of where it's gotten to. And I kind of think that reflects on the business as well, because the business has become that as well. The business has become a group of meh. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's people out there who still, they work and they kick ass and put everything in on every show. One person or 1,000 people or 20,000 people, they are performing top of their game. But then the rest of them are just there for the paycheck. And again, not to steal it, but wouldn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. And I don't know. It just seems it's kind of a sad state of affairs for me. But again, not in the business anymore, so I don't care.
Yep. As far as ECW though, what do you think about the atmosphere, the style, the backstage? What did you think? Because you always hear stuff like, "Oh, it's crazy, drug culture, the style, they're all nuts." I mean, what did you think about that?
That's right. That's about right. I get, like, look, man, I guess anybody can say that about whatever company they worked for, I guess, I'm sure if you went to WCW and you asked people in their locker room, "Oh, our locker room was crazy. Our locker room was great, brother." And you ask somebody in the WWE locker room up north, "Oh, how was that?" "Oh, brother, our locker room was really good." Everybody has stories. You know what I mean? Everybody can tell you stories for hours. It's like, they're almost like, wrestlers are like sailors. If you got time and you ask, they're going to tell you. And it's kind of one of those things of like I said, man, there was a lot more family. And I know that sounds really weird. So imagine the family, I guess it's the easiest way to put it. It's that family, like ECW, I guess. And it's probably going to get me in trouble in some level. ECW, I guess, was the family with the hot cousin who you weren't sure how related to her you were. And you were kind of glad you brought the rubber to the reunion, but you just weren't sure if you were going to use it. It was just one of those. That's how it seemed. It was just as fucked up as it was. It was kind of normal. I think I've said this before. Leaving the wrestling business into a normal world with a 9-to-5 job, and where you don't just you're not just insane every day, and you don't if you say insane things, people, it really starts mattering. Like if we were to just talk and then start talking nonsense, it wouldn't matter for an ECW. You know, we go out, we go to a diner, and we talk at a diner, and we say whatever we want. Or somebody walks in with their head bleeding, wearing a pair of smiley face boxer shorts as shorts, and just sits down and tells the waitress that you're really tired and you only had 12 Xanax, so you're bleeding a little bit more than you should be. Nobody cares, because you know what? ECW, all right.
Right.
That's all that matters. If you do that now and you go to your job at Lowe's, there's a good chance you're not going to keep your job at Lowe's. It's not going to build your reputation at Lowe's for the better. They'll be like, oh, hey, did you see Carl from Lumber? He was bleeding again for some reason. Yeah, I don't know what it was. He was at the diner throwing up in the back. It was weird. I don't know what that was, but the transition was it was interesting. And again, it's part of the thing. Like I said, even if it was worse at the time, it made us better people in the end. As if this is the end, like we're all going to die tomorrow. But just like in our age, in our advanced age, it's made us better people, I think, because we know how not to act anymore.
Right, right.
And we know exactly not to do these things. Or if you have kids, which I don't, knock on wood, just what not to tell kids, not to say to kids, and not to do in front of kids. So it's an interesting ride. And yeah, man, there's a lot of drugs, a lot of weirdness, a lot of bad behavior. But again, this wasn't we weren't here for, this wasn't Sunday school. It was ECW. Like, we weren't here to show you how to behave in society. We were here to get in the ring, show you something that you probably never saw before yet. Now it's an opening spot on anything, but we go in the ring, show you something crazy that you would never do, and call it a night, man. Everything else was our time. Mind your business. So
yep.
That's that's how it went. And then now it's funny when all the friends who do have kids, and they're all like, and you're like, oh, well, what do you want to do? And you grow up, and they're like, I want to wrestle. You're like, you do not. If I hear you say that again, I will smack your mouth. Or you look to make sure their mom's not around. And you're just like, well, what do you want to do? I want to wrestle. All right, keep it down, relax. Yep. Don't say that too loud. Your mom might hear you.
What do you think about good old Paul Heyman? There's so much different kind of schools of thought. A lot of people say genius, obviously in one aspect, creative aspect. Mm-hmm. Then Absolutely. They say he's the complete opposite business-wise. He might be the worst businessman of all time. But there's no really middle ground with him. Either people love him or they hate him, I feel like.
Well, I think I'm exactly what you just said. So as I said earlier, artistically, I think he is brilliant to a degree. He took chances, and he did something different. And I'm sure 1,000 people can say, well, he stole this and this. Yep, he did, but he did it first on TV. So right. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot dispute that. Business-wise, the bouncing checks and all the bullshit you've ever heard, it's all true. Like, that's real, man. And unfortunately, there's nothing around. There's no way around that. A lot of people who worked, they didn't get what they deserved. They didn't. That's just the facts, man. You can't polish it up. You can't make it cooler. You can't, try to just, it stung. It sucked. When it closed down, everybody will tell you the same thing. Like, Danny's big thing was he asked somebody in the ring on the last show. And he goes, is this the last thing? And they're like, no, don't worry about it. And they're doing the beard gimmick. And Danny was like, well, it's fine. It's fine. and it was the last show. Because how many times was this done? You know, and who knows what's real?
Yep.
And then to come find out later on that this was all funded. Some of these things were funded by Vince, and this was this, and this was that, and this payroll came from this and that. And it's like, motherfucker, if he was thrown out, then where was our money? Like,
right.
So, you know, so again, everybody can go back and forth and say, oh, hey, I do have that middle ground. There was a part of me a long time ago that I had a lot of anger towards him. The reason I had anger, and you know what? Here's the thing. People could say I'm stupid or whatever else. It wasn't even the money. Money is money, and it comes and goes. The fact that I was on the phone with him, and it's a joke now. It's a joke between all of us because we've all heard it. And maybe I was naive because I believed him. And the joke is, on my father's eyes. And he promised me, it was, Sal, listen to me, Saluch. I promise you, whether it's mowing lawns or driving a taxi, you are going to be right next to me. Oh, okay. Hey, Paul, whatever you need, let me know. And again, that is the truth. That's what he said to me. And that's what I was like, cool, man. Hey, I take it. I have no reason to not believe him. He explained everything to me. And I was like, cool, man, great. And at the time, we proved it on many occasions. We would fight and kill for that man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, like, and we proved it. We did it quite a few times. And, you know, again, hindsight, 2020. But it's one of those situations where you're looking back going, wow. You just blatantly, if I were to tell you, John Paz, listen to me. I'm going to be at your show, 8:30. We're going to do your show, okay, man? 8:30. I will be there, whether I have to climb over a truck full of dead babies. Like, just, I will be at your show at 8:30, and then I just blow off your show completely.
Right.
Like, at what point are you just going to go, you son of a bitch? Like, you didn't have to promise. You didn't have to promise to climb over dead babies. You could have just said, if I'm there, I'm there.
Yep.
And that would have been fine. That would have been even better. That would have been fine if I said, bro, if I can make it, I'll make it. Okay, cool, man. At least there was an option. And I came up with a back idea to fill in the time if you didn't show. But John, listen to me. I swear to you. I swear on my eyes, I will be on your show. And then I just didn't show up. It's really just to think, you're like, wow, you fucking just looked at me and you lied to me. That's what got me, because I would never do that to someone, especially someone who I consider respected. I thought respected me, and that's where my heat was. Money and all that other shit, it comes and goes, and you know, you can say it's very zen or very stupid, however you want to coin that phrase. I just, like, I understand what's worth, and I would rather have somebody's word mean something than the money.
Did he owe you a lot of money at the end of the day?
Not a lot of money. Compared to some of the other guys, not a lot of money. So it's like, again, like I said, it still would have been nice to have, but all right. I'm alive. I'm still alive without it. So we're cool.
Yep.
Like, if you were talking to me and I was in a bus station, we'd probably have a different conversation.
Right. What did you think about Guido and Mamaluke and yourself? You know what I mean? It's like, those guys are great. And don't get me wrong, I love Guido, great worker. But it's so funny. It's like, little guy. Oh, they're with this gigantic guy. Like, the optics are
that was the point. That was the whole point of it. And I'll be honest, man. So look at it from every angle. You go from, like, Tony Mamaluke, right? You look at this dude, and he literally looks like someone who would be standing outside of, like, on Bay 17 outside of a deli.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just waiting for the phone, the old payphone to ring and to get the call. I got to go pick this up. All right, great. And then, you have, but now here's the thing. You look at Tony and you're like, oh, it's a real small dude. He always and this is going to sound like such a weird stretch. He always reminded me, he had that Roddy Piper thing where he wouldn't stay down. Remember how like when Piper used to do his bit, Piper never laid on the floor. Piper never just rolled around for an hour. Piper was always up, even if he was swinging to take a bump. He was always up, always standing up. No matter what you did to him, Piper got up. See, Tony was the same way, like literally in every aspect of his life. No matter what, and he's not dead. I hate talking about him like he's dead. No matter what got thrown at him, no matter what he was thrown at, he got up. Even if yeah. My respect level for him is just amazing. And Guido too. Like Guido is insane. When I say insane, I don't mean like running around the house with a chainsaw insane. I mean his mind does not stop working because it's always grinding. Like his head is just, gears are always turning in his head. He is neurotic. When I say that, I mean he needs and wants and makes sure every angle is covered in that match. As far as the work is concerned, he was insane because he wanted to make sure he gave the best show he could. Even if it was, and again, even if it was only to make sure that he didn't get yelled at, he still made sure everything was covered. There was no angle left open. And I was grateful to have those guys. They were amazing. And again, they afforded me. They did the work. I got to walk around and do a couple spots, and I got to jaw jack a lot. So that's my specialty. So that was fine. We always had a good time, and even if it was the day you're not feeling good, you're just not feeling the day. It's crappy, whatever the case is. You came to work, and then you saw those two lunatics just in the corner talking, and you're like, oh shit. And you're watching Guido go 100 miles an hour, and Tony's going, relax, and I'm just watching the pantomime happen. I know what's going. I know what I'm walking into, but it was well, perfect. I'm here. I'm home. This is it. And no matter what else happened that day, it's like, okay, all right, time to go to work. And that was okay. I was okay with that any day of the week.
To me, one of the most memorable ECW moments for you happened via, like, I guess everybody could watch it via fan cam, and that's Ready or Not hits. Scott Hall makes a shocking appearance. To me, it was like, you read it, you had a mark, whatever, you were reading it on the internet, like, wow, Scott Hall in ECW, this is so freaking cool. So my buddy, like, as soon as that fan cam came out, he got it. We were watching, so we're like, oh, that's so cool. But then, you hear like, oh my God, I can't believe he lost. Big Sal, holy crap. But then later in the night, he beats Credible in the main event. But what was that like for you? Because, I mean, man, first of all, the pop for him was awesome, unreal, total shocker.
Crazy, man. Oh, that was so crazy. Mid-Hudson, and now here, Mid-Hudson Civic Center has a lot of memories for me as far as even before that. But now he came in the back. We saw him and it was, oh, hey, man, what's up? And I mean, it's cool. And, it's cool. You see him and it's like, all right. I used to watch him with Kurt Hennig back in the day, AWA and stuff. And Scott Hall, I'm like, fuck yeah, Razor. All right, great. And then he comes up, hey, big man, how are you? And you're like, hey, man, nice to meet you. And he's like, what's going on? So we just started talking. He's a super cool guy. And it was his idea. He says, why don't we do this? We'll come out, we'll do this, we'll come in, the Sabi-Da, do this and this. And big man comes, does the boom, bing, bing, bada bing, we're home, we're in. And I'm like, I'm going, what? What are you talking about? Like, I'm waiting for the joke. I'm waiting, where's the rib? Like, right? And I look at Dreamer, and Dreamer goes, want to do it? Go ahead. Well. So I was just, and that's what we did. We went out and we had to, did our bit, and it was, that was also, Mid-Hudson was when I think I did the dance off with Bubba. We had a dance off there. Again, just stupid things that I remember. But like doing the Scott Hall bit, it was his call, his idea, and he wanted to do it. Like he wanted it, and he's like, Nobody will see it come. It'll be great. It'll be wonderful, man. You guys are good. It's going to be over. All right. Sure, I guess. And I'm sure when you were watching the fan cam, because let's be fair, here's the thing. I wasn't a fan favorite. I was a handful of people. They liked me. And it was kind of like one of those ironic things where you hear this, you hear it, Ready or Not come on, and you're like, what? Scott Hall? And then when I beat him, I guarantee you and your friend are going, what the fuck? How are they putting this hump over?
We were shocked.
Right. And nobody was as shocked as I was. But again, it was one of those things where it meant the world to me. And again, I went back when we went to ECW Arena they had the Legend show, and he was there. And I went, 20, 30 years later, whatever it was. And I went over and I said, Scott, I wanted to thank you. I said, I know I thanked you 100 times that night. I go, but I would like to say thank you. It was a real cool thing you did. And he said to me, he goes, thanks. That means a lot to me. All the problems he had, all the demons he had, whatever you want to say about the guy, always a gracious dude. And he was super chill. And I will never forget a guy like that. That's, again, I would deal with 100 times of that, because honor means something. That meant something. And it didn't hurt him. Not a lick. Like, who said, well, Scott Hall, you got beat by Big Sal? Nobody. It didn't hurt him at all. And if anything, it was a bigger buzz that he was in ECW for that night.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So to see that, and then you watch these other guys who are, yeah, I can't do the job. This is my hometown. Go fuck yourself, man. Get over yourself. It's a work. The whole thing, it's a business, you schmuck. Yeah, obviously you don't know how this works. And guys like that did. And I appreciate that. I very much appreciate that. And I'll never say a bad thing about someone like that.
Very cool moment, obviously, for you.
It was very
absolutely
cool.
Great. When ECW is heading towards bankruptcy and closing, did you see that coming at all, or was that shocking?
We all saw it. We all saw it coming, but we were all, again, like I said, when Danny, at the last show, Danny was like, we'll be back. Opened up a beer, did the bit. Because we were hearing this day in and day out. We were closing every weekend. This is the last show. Oh, okay. Oh, I got another flight booked next week. Okay, great. This is the last show. So it was one of those things. It was just coming. We just didn't know when. Like, we were Thelma and Louise in the car, and we see the cliff, but we're like, it's coming. Hang on, wait for it. We just didn't know when. Because we get different stories, and there was optimism because nobody wanted it to end. As much as everybody wanted it to end, nobody wanted it to end. So,
what about the whole rollerball controversy?
Wait, what's the controversy?
Well, Heyman went nuts. Years ago, I interviewed C.W. Anderson, and Heyman got a hold of the interview and just went nuts on Twitter. 15 tweets in a row about how CW is a piece of shit. He's totally wrong. And CW is like the nicest guy in the world, but it's like the rollerball thing's not true. And I just talked to Harry Slash, and he was like, well, the rollerball thing was filmed in New York and some Westchester. It wasn't filmed in LA. And, just trying to figure it out. But Heyman says, not true. He wasn't trying to get in with rollerball and get in with WWF. He was focusing on saving ECW. That's why he was making these trips. Like, what's the truth?
No, man. Oh, who knows? That's the thing. You can ask 1,000 guys and you'll get 1,000 different answers because everybody was told a different story. Everybody was kept in the dark. And that's the best way to keep something quiet, is tell no one the truth.
Right.
Or tell everyone the truth. And just tell them in different ways. So like I said, the man swore to me on his father's eyes. The man swore to me I would always have a job, no matter what job it was. I would have a job with him or beside him or in some capacity next to him. Except I didn't, and I don't. So he lied. So automatically, obviously I can't trust him. I'm not going to put it this way. If Paul were to come in and knock on my door right now, I would invite him in. Would you like something to drink, Paul? You want something to drink? Can I make you something to eat? Great, man. We'll sit down. We'll hang out. I have no problem with that. If Paul were to show up at my door and say, "Listen, I need $10,000. I have an investment for you," I would strangle him on my front lawn and hang him up on a flagpole because that's ridiculous. But again, like I said, you it's all as a matter of perspective and the angle that you were informed from. So, whereas Tommy Dreamer would be the mouthpiece to us and go, "Listen, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on." Okay, cool. Dreamer has no reason to lie to us. I've known Dreamer forever. He has no reason to lie to us. But then it turns out Dreamer wasn't given the right information either. So now what? Right. So people are going to ask me, and somebody goes, "Well, what are we supposed to do?" I go, No, dude, it's cool. Dreamer told me this. So now I've just given from the office. I've given you the word from the office. But now if the office was given the wrong word, I've just passed on wrong information. So it depends on who you ask. So you asking, and I appreciate what you're saying, but you asking, what's the truth? Who the fuck knows? Because we're all in the same spot where, so Rollerball, as speaking of which, I was, after all this was going on, and there was still some weirdness going on. We're at the movies. At the movie theater, and I'm with friends, non-wrestling people, and all we see on the screen is "Welcome to Rollerball," and I went, "Oh my god!" I just had the fucking douche chills, and all my hair fucking stood up, and I'm like, "Heyman, oh my god!" And this gigantic boiled ham of a head was 30 feet across on the screen, and I was like, what the fuck? How is this? What's happening? No, I had no idea that he was doing this movie. But there he was on the screen, and it was like, what the shit is this? But again, then we laugh about it, and then you call immediately. You're like, "Hey, dude, what is happening? Why is Paul on this?" And then you find out, "Oh, well, he went. Oh, I thought he was going to California for this, or I thought he was going to this." Who knows why? Everybody was given a different reason, and then when things just pop up, you're just like, "Oh, all right, I guess he knows what he's doing." Maybe he's doing it on his day off. Obviously, if you're going in for talks, he's not going to be in talks 24/7. So he probably had some shit to do. He probably did some other stuff on the side. Okay, great. And you chalk it up to everybody's hustling. Everybody's got a hustle going on. Okay, great, terrific.
The Heyman hustle.
And we all thought that we thought he was involved in South Park somehow. Because we swore that they probably used his voice at some point in the show, when they summoned the demon Heyman. So we all thought, again, it's not anything we could put past him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that's just another level of he could be involved in it. We'd never know. So it
seems like his guys ended up okay. You know what I mean? Like his New York crew, Taz, the Dudleys, Dreamer. It seemed like they ended up okay. So once he got in the door, he kind of helped some of the guys, but not all the guys.
And even to a point, I think, the Office guys. That's who it was.
Of course. Yep.
So again, it's. But a lot of the guys. Here's the thing too. A lot of those guys too were smart to the business. Like guys like Bubba and shit like that. They're smart to the business, and guys like Devon. Professional, ultimate professional. You know what I mean? So that's, none of those guys can be discounted for their talent or their professionalism. And you say what you want, make fun, joke. We joke with the guys. I know personally, if I don't like you, I'm not going to say anything about you, unless it's, go fuck yourself. But like, I joke about Taz and stuff. That's only because we couldn't joke about Taz when we were there, because you were scared of him. You were scared of the guy. He's your boss. Oh man, and you're worried about what he's going to say, what he's going to do. But now I don't have to worry about that stuff. We're all adults.
Yep.
So now I can just say what I want. So
yeah, very true. But as we head towards the finish, head towards the wind down here, with just looking back at your career and at ECW, do you have like regrets? Like oh, I wish I did this, or I wish I did that, or I wish I confronted Paul on this, and I wish sometimes I wish he would have paid me here and I would have confronted him. Like anything, any sort of regrets, you basically
Uh,
look back and you're happy with everything.
well, you always wish things worked out better. Wish you paid attention more. Um, there are certain things when you wish you should maybe shown a little more respect to somebody who you thought might have been a bad guy, but it turned out they were just trying to take care of their own. And I'm not above. I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. Um, but like honestly, confronting Paul and saying, "Oh, you owe me money," or "You know this," you know what it turns into? That would be right now. That would be another rumor. Like, "Oh shit, Sal almost killed Paul in a bathroom," and then somebody else will hear the story that it was over drug money. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, "Oh, Paul stole a bunch of Sal's pills," or it's just shit that isn't true. So again, hindsight 2020, but confronting people or nah, it's all yeah, water under that bridge.
Yeah, it's like you hear a story, even like a podcast, and then somebody else hears a story like that didn't happen. That's not true.
Right,
And then
right.
it was like, oh, he held up the guy and he took a steel case and he hit him over the head with it. It's like that's not. I don't even own a steel case. Like
Yeah, I don't even own a Halliburton. Yeah, yeah,
you,
we've had that talk.
yeah, always happens. So what do you got kind of going on going forward? Where can we see like what are you gonna have going on?
Right now, I do go hard. What's it? HJ, the real HJA at Gmail. It's a Hard Junkyard Apocalypse. It's our YouTube channel. We just put out our first promo for it. Working on working on new content for our show, where we have two characters. It's a character driven show. Watch old horror movies, the old kind of like those old '80s horror hosts. Again, not looking to make a ton of money. We're looking to create content. I want to make some entertainment. Like that's why. Okay, I don't know why you're doing it. Why you do podcasts. Why people do videos. Why people do these things. It's either you want to tell your story, you want to entertain, or you want to inform. Okay, and if you can make money from any three of those or any combination of those three, great. But that's the reason I do it. I want one of those three things. I want to tell somebody something. I want to maybe show somebody something that they haven't known before. So I get to inform you, and if I get to entertain you while doing it, then I'm cool with it, man. I just want to I want to do these things, and I want to keep creating and keep doing dumb stuff. So yeah, I feel like that's so again, you want to reach out to us. It's realhja at gmail.com. We have a YouTube channel. We're going back on Twitter, horror_junkyard. We got a lot coming back up. We shut the show down for a little bit. And now we just started up again and go in a different direction just to kind of bring back a little bit of a nostalgia thing for me. That was as big a part of my childhood as wrestling. Was you watch wrestling in the mornings and then you watch horror movies Saturday afternoon. Chiller Theater.
Yep.
Zachary on PIX in New York. I know at Channel 11 in New York. That was my childhood. And then Friday night Fright Fests and all the stuff that you stay up late for, not supposed to watch, or I miss that stuff. And again, we're lacking it. It's now everything's on the internet, so you can see old horror host shows on YouTube and everything else. And I want to bring some of that back a little bit, just a little bit more innocent, kind of dumb stuff. So that's where we're at. That's where we're going. And also, again, we're going to find out what with you're saying earlier, Realm things going on with Horsemen and Ben and Papa Don and Stevie. Me and Stevie do these pop up stream of consciousness called the Unshow, where we pop up on Stevie's channel and we discuss something random. It's unproduced, unscripted, everything, unrehearsed. So yeah, it's the Unshow.
No format.
No, and it's honestly it's very therapeutic. Getting to talk with a guy like Stevie, super smart, super super good guy, and glad to another guy, glad to call him friend. So definitely, I think I am lucky to have people who I've gravitated to who are not scumbags. If
Yep.
if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
And they're the people I still get to interact with daily, and those are the people who have kept me strong when things got a little shaky, or if they needed my help, I was there to help. And that I love being able to help my friends. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. That's where we're going. So if you subscribe to us and you see more weird crap pop up, it's because I just don't want to stop being a weirdo, I guess, and just keep creating silly stuff. I want to, it's just ever since there was two things I wanted to be, and this is documented in PS 138. I wanted to be a wrestler, and I wanted to be a cartoon. That is a true story. When I had to write, we had to write what we wanted to be when we grew up, and a wrestler was one, and a cartoon was the other.
Sounds about right.
I'm still working on the cartoon part, so I'm hoping to achieve that at some point.
Hey, sounds about right to me.
So yeah. So again, thank you for having me on, man. It's been very cool, and
hey, thank you.
Whenever you'd like, I'd love to come back.
I was going to say you better come back for another one, and another one. Yeah, you got to come back.
No problem with that, man.
Nice. I know you're hard to get a hold of, but I got to get you back on.
I'm not hard to get a hold of at all. I'm always around.
It's been Vince fault.
Oh yeah, I blame Ben.
Yeah.
Blame that guy.
He's like, I don't even know if I remember if I talked to Sal or not about it, because I was like, when are you going to ask him? I've actually like 10 times. He's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he asked me, and he goes, what's your email address? And I didn't see it till the next morning, and I'm like, oh, here's my email. But he's had my email. He has my email.
Of course, yeah.
And it's like, oh, here's my email again. Sure. But yeah, anytime you want to get me on, I'm around. Like I said, you might catch me at some point, and I'm wearing a dumb mask or playing with puppets, but I'm here.
Nice. Big Sal, thank you so much for all the time.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And ready or not, you did have that win over Scott Hall. So there you go. You got that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.